Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my presentation on GCT Enterprises, an Ethereum mining operation based out of Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and Philadelphia area. My name is Mobeen Khan, and I would like to further progress this investors meeting. All right, so for today's agenda items, first thing we're going to do is go ahead and give a small introduction on GCT Enterprises, what we do in our story, and how we came to fruition. Some of the things we'll also talk about is maybe the industry outlook and where this market is maybe headed. And possibly we're going to wrap it up with the investment section where we're going to talk about investment opportunities and possibly ways that investors can also enter the GCT family. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start with our shareholders. Our stakeholders. Our stakeholders, our main three stakeholders, so this is a small company that we put together on our own. So the three main stakeholders, aside from sharing financial responsibility and equity responsibility, they're also going to be assuming roles within the company to make sure that everything runs efficiently. So we have Rayed Khan. He has a history working for Goldman Sachs and FS Investments in operations at that. So he's working as a supply chain and financial reporting manager. We have myself, who is working as the project manager due to my expertise on the outlook of the industry. And Marcel Comet, who is our systems engineer. Marcel is really the go-to person when you want any hardware issues, or you have any hardware issues, or there's any comments or concerns that you might have in terms of putting the actual rig together. Marcel is our guy. So what's our story? So we launched in February 2021, and I think when we're talking about cryptocurrency mining, it's important to understand, what it is and what we're doing. So I listed here some questions, and I'm just going to go through sort of a brief overview as to what these things are. Right, so what is cryptocurrency mining? Mining is actually a pretty bad word for it. When you mine, what you're really doing is you're making records. You're recording transactions on the blockchain. In this sense, we're mining Ethereum, so we're recording transactions on the Ethereum blockchain. And now that network, because we're doing that work, we're recording these transactions, we're making this network more efficient and run smoothly. The network pays out the miners in Ethereum. And so that's kind of where our circulating supply also comes from. So, right, mining, just think of recording, right? Think of the blockchain as just a ledger, and we're making records, we're recording on that ledger, and we're getting rewarded for that in Ethereum. So who? We'll be the ones mining GCT Enterprises for us personally, but miners in general are what keep this entire market going. And if people don't mine, then those transactions won't be recorded. So this network is very different. It's not a company being, controlling all the strings on top. This is an actual ecosystem where when people mine and they record these transactions, that enhances security, and it further gives more proof that, hey, we can use this for the future. Where? So we're based out of Philadelphia. Well, mining itself can be done anywhere. And so because of that, we're actually based out of Philadelphia and Miami. And we split that up because the rigs can draw a lot of power. So it's good to split up the risk exposure of possibly, all 8 of our rigs going down rather than just maybe 2 of our rigs going down, and we still have 4 running in Florida. So we just did that because of risk exposure. Why did we do this? Why did we get on this journey? So it actually started with me. I was working as a operations analyst for SEI Investments, and I was basically just a financial reporting analyst. And I always wondered, why isn't the system automated? Why are people still inputting these transactions for these stock purchases and still inputting these manually? Didn't really make much sense to me. So I looked into, is there an automated service? Is there something that automates this process of recording and making people feel safe and making people trust the network? right? And so that's kind of how I went down the rabbit hole of learning about Ethereum and how, oh wow, this is very similar to the job that I was doing, except this is more passive. All right, so how are we doing this? We're going to be mining Ethereum via graphics cards. Right now is the most popular way to mine Ethereum, graphics card processors. So you'll hear me use that word a lot, GPU mining. GPU mining is efficient, except for there's some shortcomings. 3000 series being the best cards, and because of the passive nature of this business, and also the fact that we are in somewhat of a supply shock or a demand shock from COVID-19, it can be a little difficult with sourcing these graphics cards. But that is the how. We will be doing graphics card processing mining, GPU mining. So why should you invest, right? Most importantly is risk management, right? Instead of putting maybe $60,000 into Ethereum, and let's say that position after 1 year, you're able to, let's say you're mining, right? After 1 year, if I bought $60,000 of Bitcoin or Ethereum, and Ethereum dropped, let's say 50%, I'm now down 50% on my position. If I mine, and I mine for 1 year, on average, with $60,000, I should have mined that much Ethereum. But the benefit is, yeah, maybe the price fell from where it was. Maybe I am down a little bit, but why is this good for risk? Because I still have all of this hardware that's worth around $60,000. And if I want to close my position, I can even grow my original Ethereum position. So it's a really good way to kind of mitigate risk that maybe some people don't talk about. Potential growth. This is a speculative asset. People are making speculative bets that this asset and this industry will continue to grow. Cryptocurrency is not just a coin anymore, it's software. And since 2017, we're at our recent local all-time high, which was 4,300, we were up almost 384%. Those are returns worth looking into. Scalability, right? We can add as many GPUs as you want. And if you see over to my right, there is a image. This isn't my image, but this is a goal of mine, to have a large cryptocurrency mining farm in one warehouse, and it's running efficiently and it's running to the maximum output that it possibly can. So it's scalable. If I filled up that entire warehouse and I wanted to continue to grow, there's not much stopping me other than if I can locate those resources and obviously budget constraints. Tax benefits. There's also tax benefits because, yeah, you're making an asset. Yeah, you are making money. But those computer pieces that you have, those are going to depreciate. So there are potential tax benefits in that as well. Other than just realizing gains, you can actually depreciate some of the cost of those graphics cards and the other computer parts. And barriers to entry, right? It is actually kind of hard to get into mining because there's so much going on. There's so many components that you have to source. There's so many different people that you have to talk to. There's so many different methods of maybe doing this or that, right? That's some of that's maybe one thing that we can take away from potential investors. We can take away those barriers to entry because we're already in it. We're going to focus on scaling rather than starting up, because starting up is some of the hardest things that you can possibly do. And at this time, I'd like to address any comments or concerns. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to write them below or raise your hand. And thank you for your time. Once again, below I have listed my email and also my supply chain manager's email. Our hardware engineer doesn't really focus on customer service aspects of it, but any sort of comments and concerns, please forward to my email, the srvcskhan@gmail.com. Thank you so much for your time.